Babies who wake up grumpy make me grumpy. Is there a solution? Yes, I think there is. Hello, I'm Cassie from Custom Built Parenthood, and I'm honestly really excited about today's topic. We're going to talk about what to do if a baby wakes up unhappy or cranky. This can be brutal, especially because they're napping several times a day, maybe still waking up in the morning. There's a lot of waking up times, and if every time your baby's cranky and fussy and just upset, it makes for a really long day. I've certainly had my fair share of grouchy risers between my 3 kids and then a couple years fostering before that. I've definitely had my fair share of having this experience, and it is not fun. So I do have some suggestions and hopefully some things to just completely kind of shift your focus and perspective to figure this out. So first thing we have to talk about is how to know if your baby needs more sleep. This could definitely be the reason why your baby's waking up cranky. If they are not getting enough sleep, they're gonna feel tired and unhappy. So take a really close look at their sleep first and foremost. I have creating a nighttime routine that I will link here that goes in detail about finding out the amount of hours your child should be getting of sleep and kind of how that should be divided between days and nights, and kind of just factoring in, are they getting enough sleep in general? And then if they are, kind of take a look at bedtimes. Is their bedtime maybe a little bit too late? Are you not doing enough of a routine to wind them down before bed? And same with naps. Do they have a little routine to kind of help calm them down? And when they fall asleep, how long are they really napping? If it's less than an hour, they probably should be getting a little bit more sleep for that nap. So figure out what you can do to help them learn how to sleep a little bit longer. All of those things can definitely be things worth tackling and could solve your problems. Give your baby more sleep and they will wake up happy. One other thing worth taking a close look at is, have you taught your baby how to fall asleep on their own? If they're waking up too early or haven't slept long enough, they need to be able to put themselves back to sleep without any help. And that could be part of the problem. If you haven't taught them how to do that, they are going to be dependent on you for you to do that. So I talked about kind of sleep training and figuring out how to get your baby to sleep on their own. I'll link that video in the cards as well as in the description below, but definitely worth thinking about. If you haven't already, teach your baby to fall asleep on their own. That will get them better sleep. Next, let's talk about what's affected by a baby's temperament. Temperament is a word thrown around a lot in the parenting world, and you might wonder, like, what does that really even mean? All temperament refers to is a person's nature, especially as it relates to behavior. So really, it's just their personality or their disposition. So there's research actually saying that you can figure this out in the youngest of infants. So there's actually 3 categories that every infant can fall under when it comes to temperament. Those 3 are easy, slow to warm up, and difficult. I feel like this is very empowering information just to validate that not every baby is the same, first of all, and your baby might really be more difficult than others. Temperament is a very real thing that comes into play throughout our whole lives for sure, and especially in these first, several years of life. It can be a real thing. Some babies are really difficult to calm and soothe. Some babies are really difficult to help them wake up happy, for instance. It can just be so much harder when you're up against a difficult temperament. So take that into consideration, and just really so that you can feel a little bit more empowered to know how to handle things and to not be so discouraged because this other person's baby is always so happy and bubbly, and why can't my baby be like that? It's just every baby's different, just like we are all different. So although you can't change your baby's temperament, there are absolutely some strategies that you can implement to make things really so much easier on yourself and on your baby. We're going to be figuring out what your baby likes. Temperament aside, personal preferences are very real. Some of us love the morning and we wake up so happy and refreshed, and other people loathe the mornings, right? There's nothing they hate more than being awake in the morning. If you notice that's your baby's tendency or your child's tendency, that's okay. Try to respect that preference. There's nothing that you can do to change how they're feeling, but there are some things you can do to change how you're approaching them. So meet that with as much love and kindness and respect as you can possibly muster to help everybody through that transition. It can really help to talk your baby through this. I have a video about communicating with your baby I'll link up here as well as in the description below. Talk them through this. Label the feelings that you can tell that they're experiencing. Help them start learning that communication and just that self-awareness, honestly, that yeah, it's really hard to wake up in the mornings, huh? Yeah, it's hard to feel grouchy. You know, whatever they're feeling, try to help them through that, talk them through that. And then beyond that, you're gonna just have a lot of trial and error of figuring out a wake-up routine for your baby. This is the best thing I have found over the years to see this chunk of time. So after your baby wakes up, right then, that's now gonna be a routine. So just like we have a bedtime routine or a before nap routine, we're also gonna have a wake-up routine. And this is just time set aside that you are mentally ready to be there with your child, right? Fully commit, if at all possible, your undivided attention, and something actually planned, something that is going to meet their needs right then when they're dealing with that really unpleasant feeling and experience of waking up. So probably 10 to 20 minutes, maybe. It will depend on your child, what they're needing. It might only be a couple minutes that they need. It might be longer than bedtime, so just mentally prepare yourself to give them that time that they need to help them wake up. You're going to be thinking about their preferences, thinking about things that they really enjoy doing, and try to just make this an awesome thing that eventually they'll look forward to and help shorten the amount of time that it takes them to really get up and pleasant. Most likely, your baby will appreciate avoiding any loud noises, bright lights, people or things right in their face. Think of them as a person that's not a morning person, right? We all know those people who just do not want to be bothered. They're not fun to be around. They're cranky. That's essentially what your baby is. So try to create an environment that is just very conducive to somebody waking up. Give them that time to just slowly ease into that world of being awake. So try to avoid anything that's gonna just set them off. Don't force them into being around everybody all at once, or don't just immediately open the curtains. Whatever maybe you've tended to do in the past, try to smooth that and make that a little less jarring. So now let's go into a little bit more detail about creating a wake-up routine for your baby. Take into account all of their personal preferences, things that you know they really enjoy, and just start off with one idea that you think will be really effective for this time. You don't know for sure what's gonna work, so don't put a ton of pressure on yourself. Just pick something that you think is a good idea, something that your baby should really enjoy, and something that's sustainable for you. You need to be able to do it over and over, just like you do with the bedtime routine. So don't do anything too elaborate or overwhelming for yourself. Make it manageable, but something that your baby will be likely to enjoy and look forward to. It doesn't have to be anything amazing, just something that will be effective, right? That's the goal. So, let's just talk about some ideas here. Some babies enjoy cuddles. Some babies really love to just feel close to you. You're maybe holding them or rocking them. Maybe they want to cuddle in your lap while you read a few books to them. Some babies might not want any physical touch. They are not interested in being super close to you. They just want to maybe sit on the floor next to you and watch you play with one of their toys. Maybe you have a little train track that you just kind of start to play with, and they're just watching you. You're not super in their face or in their business, but you're right there with them and inviting, just by your actions, them to join you when they're ready. Maybe they really love to be outside, so you immediately take them outdoors. Maybe they like a little stroller ride, or maybe they want to just be held with you on the grass, just kind of taking in their surroundings. If your baby loves the bath, try that. Maybe shift their bath time to one of those worst wake-up times, and they just know they get to go right into the bath. Maybe the water's so calming to them, and maybe that goes really well for you. Some babies wake up famished. They are just starving to death, and you should have a snack ready for them right when they wake up. Maybe it's something really easy that's not too messy that you can actually bring into their room and cuddle with them and let them just kind of munch on their food while they kind of start to wake up. Okay, there's so many ideas. This is only just a few things that came to the top of my mind, but try whatever you think will work great for your baby. And the whole point is to really customize it to you, to your child, and figure out the best approach to kind of always have a positive wake-up experience for them. Okay, so I do have a couple of tips for you. As always, number one is when your baby wakes up crying and grumpy, before you even open their door and go in there, try to take a big deep breath and muster every happy ounce you can and go in there with a positive phrase. So choose something ahead of time that's really easy to just say and remember, something like, "Good morning, I'm so happy you're awake now. I can't wait to play with you today." Or if it's after a nap, "I'm so glad you're awake from your nap now. I can't wait to read some books with you." Or just something that's positive, have a happy expression, and maybe they'll pick that up someday. You're trying to model a little bit more pleasant, happy approach to this situation. And who knows, maybe they'll pick that up, or if nothing else, it will help you avoid letting them drag you down into their grouchy cycle, because it's really easy to get sucked into that, and we definitely want to avoid that. Second tip is, a lot of times babies or toddlers especially, or older children, feel really grumpy and they might be lashing out. They might be really rude. They might be saying things that are not the nicest. They might be hitting or kicking you, and you can't blame them because they're not feeling at their best. However, it is very important that you establish a very clear boundary with them always. So what I would say with my kids is, it's okay to feel grumpy. It's not okay to hit. That's it. There's no big lecture. You're not getting upset. You're not calling them a name or doing anything that's modeling bad behavior, but you're just showing them it's okay to feel grouchy. It's really hard to wake up. It is not okay to hit. It is not okay to yell. It's not okay to call mommy names. Whatever they're doing, clear boundary. Time and time again, broken record, that's your response. And then do whatever you need to do to contain them from doing that. So if they're hitting and kicking, just gently hold them and hug them and rock them through that and let that emotion pass from them. Read the books, do whatever is kind of calming to them, and that's where the wake up routine comes into place. You want something that can kind of distract them, something that can take their mind off of it, and something that can just help them through this really tough transition for them. The third thing I have to say is, if siblings are in the mix, you might be thinking, oh yeah, this is great on paper, Cassie, but what do I do because I have this other kid that really needs my attention? I can't just take 20 minutes for this one kid. Like, what am I even gonna do with my other child? That's a very real thing. We deal with that every day around here. We are all here together all day long. So when siblings are in the mix, my best approach has been to come up with more of a group wake up routine. So my older kids have their quiet time while my little one takes his nap. And when he wakes up from his nap, it's really effective to have something planned for all of us to do together that is calming, soothing, and can accommodate kind of for all of our needs. So whether that's a special snack, whether that's a fun activity or a special book that we're pulling out, maybe some toy, whatever is working for your family, that's what you should do. Maybe your kids are old enough that you could get them busy with some other activity and tell them, mommy needs some time with this child, so I want you to color for 10 minutes and then I'll come get you, or whatever, that might work. But if it doesn't, just incorporate your other kids and let them know this child needs some time to wake up. So please be respectful, let them know the things that you're kind of expecting from them. You don't want them to be yelling and screaming and in their face. You want everybody to be kind or quiet, whatever it is, so that the expectation is out there. But then at the end of the day, you have to figure it out. You're all a family, so we can't always just revolve around one person, right? Include everybody. And if they're old enough, brainstorm with them. What do you think we could do to help this child wake up from their nap a little bit easier? What's something really fun we could do? Because then they're a little more invested because they're helping come up with the idea. Okay, that's all the information I can possibly think of for if your baby is waking up grumpy. It honestly is really draining and difficult, and the goal is just to try to help shift your mindset a little bit, that you have to allow your baby to be that way, right? We have to accept our children as they are. We can't fix that or change that, but we can absolutely always be reassessing the things that we actually have control over. And this wake up routine can be so effective to just figure out what works for your child. Don't work against them, try to work with them and figure out what can help all of you just have more pleasant days. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification if you want to be notified with all of my new videos. I have loved hanging out with you, and we'll see you next time.